Well, it's time for an article again. I'm Jim Tew. I write for Bee Culture Magazine, and I like to add a video comment after I finish an article because I really don't know where it's going either, and sometimes I need someone to help me understand why I wrote what I did. This is for October 2019. I go ahead and release it on the web before that just because it's kind of difficult to release it on a timed basis. I got all torqued up this month on the concept of basic beekeeping. I feel like after 46 years of beekeeping and 71 years of age, I've kind of cycled back to a basic beekeeper. Now that's not a beginning beekeeper. I've been doing this for a long time. Others have been doing it longer, but I'm long in the tooth. I've been doing this for a long time, so I'm not a beginning beekeeper. I'm not a very good beekeeper either, but I dearly, dearly love bees. So my concept of a basic beekeeper as compared to a beginning beekeeper is that some of us have never wanted more than 4, 5, 6 colonies of bees. And those beekeepers have kept it that way for whatever reason they had throughout their entire beekeeping career. Maybe they had a big garden and they loved gardening and they loved bees, and maybe they put up bluebird boxes, and maybe they planted wildflower gardens, and the bees were just a part of their bigger picture in life. For most of us, for many of us, certainly for me, bees became the primary reason, and then the garden and the bluebirds and the wildflower garden all became a reason to support beekeeping. So there's a different emphasis. But I want to argue for those people who've always just kept a small number and have done it correctly and diligently for a long time. There's nothing wrong with that basic concept. They may not go buy the latest, greatest, whatever. They may get by with the simplest and doesn't take up much storage space. They don't invest much money. They do have to control mites. So I argued that case. I argued my case that beginning beekeeping is not the same as basic beekeeping, and neither is beginning and basic necessarily the same as hobby beekeeping. I mean, your hobby can be collecting exotic cars and you can have millions and millions of dollars tied up in it, but that's not going to always work for most hobby beekeepers. So I didn't get torqued up in that either. But while I was talking about this basic business, I got all wadded up over screen bottom boards. This discussion was supposed to have been elsewhere in other magazines related to question and answer columns, and I wrote it up, and I honestly just simply forgot to send it to Editor Kim. But since I did have opinion on this, I wanted to present it. When I was not a basic beekeeper, and when I was into everything new and innovative and creative, I certainly got on board with screen bottom boards. I'm not off board now. I'm just not really as on board as I once was. If you ever have to move colonies, these are kind of lightweight bottoms, and it's not really hard to punch through the screen. I listed other reasons to punch through the screen with the tongue of the hand truck. I listed other reasons why these things are less than perfect, but they do help control mites. But they're just a part. I mean, I don't know the percentage anymore. 9–10% mite control. So they're just one of many things you do in an integrated mite control scheme. You know, we used to do it with sticky boards. You could trap mites, and then we began to use sticky boards for mite population assays. You can get by without them. So I told you the reasons why I am no longer really wild about them, and that why from now on, if I had to buy bottom boards, oh wow. In fact, I even mentioned that. You have to be more gentle with these things, especially with the screen exposed. With a solid bottom board, just toss them on the truck. You're hot, you're sweaty, you're in a foul mood, you want to get out of there, and you can toss those solid bottom boards on and be gone. So use them if you got them. No problem doing it, especially if you don't move your bees. If you stay in one place and you got just a few colonies, there's nothing wrong at all. If you don't use them frequently, they'll get propolized up, hard to pull out. I still have to move some bees for reasons I've been into and don't particularly want to go into right now. Just take 8-mesh hardware cloth and put it on top of a deep. I got a lifelong collection of reasons why I like abundant ventilation. I have always killed bees by underventilating and overheating no matter how cold the day was. I have never had bees freeze to death on the back of a truck. So I always overventilate. Deeps, 8 mesh screen cloth, tack it on, cut it with snips. It's nice and neat and trim. But these ends just destroy you. Those rough edged ends will eat your hands alive. Blood, 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 worse than bee stings. They snag on my bee suit, they snag on my pants, they snag on everything. So while I like this simple design, and while ratchet straps hold it in place reasonably well, these edges are miserable. So what you got? Should I fold them inside and tack them from the inside? Can you just put a layer of duct tape around every time you use them? It really is miserable to go like this. And you say use gloves. Well, you got gloves on and you're trying to tack, hammer, work ratchet straps, that's going to get miserable too. So I discussed just this simple device with this significant problem. And some of you are always clever. Some of you are always out there doing interesting things. So how would you deal with this? Quick and easy. Just so you can move them, get back home quickly. Thanks for reading the article. Thanks for watching this. I always know you got something else you could do. I see the other articles written by really good people in Bee Culture Magazine, and it's always intimidating to think, well, what are you doing? Talking about screen wire edges and what's a basic beekeeper and what's not. But I write as best I can for the real world. Thank you so much for reading. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Jim Tew. I hope to see you here almost exactly a month from now. Bye-bye.